All right, gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of LEGTV, live from the Commission's bedroom. I'm your host, the Commissioner, John David Brake. And boy, howdy, it is the home stretch, guys. We only have 4 weeks left in the season. Hopefully there will be one before Civil War ultimately breaks out. So let's go to scoreboard last week. Let's see who got the big wins last week. The ever important week 9 last week. We got Party Like a Gronk Star beating Nick as I predicted. A huge win, 199 to 156. And look at this. New World of Creaky finally getting things together, winning 205 to 180 over Lamb of Godwin, who has been on the slide as of late. Now look at this huge one, 2020. Holy cow, what a blowout. The biggest blowout of the week by 88 points, taking down John Dahlgren. Should have started Josh Allen that game, John. Dax Street Boys 176 over the Snatch Pounders, who also are starting to slide 176 to 103. First Down Syndrome is still nipping at the heels, barely gets the win. That was the closest game. It was an 11-point game. Beating Alan Nesson 186 to 175. I was wrong on that. He did not upset Servos. And Sons of Shane Falco continues to disappoint as he scores 87 points and gets beat by Modelo Virus 130 to 87. A huge win for Jable, and we'll tell you why, because right now, here are the standings. There are 10, count them, 10 teams in playoff contention. At the top of the list, we see Servos and JD still in the lead for the first round bye. It is possible for me to clinch a playoff spot if I beat Nick this week, so of course I will. Look at that, Servos there just right behind at 7-2, could easily overtake that spot, only a 48-point differential. Now look at these 5-4 teams here, Lamb of Godwin and last year's champ Dax Street Boys at 5-4, trying to figure out who's going to get that 3-4, but then here's where the real meat is. You got John Dahlgren, Joe, Allen, Mick, Jable, and McCready all at 4-5, and that is a big chunk of teams there vying for that final playoff spots there. So pretty much the top 3 to 4 are pretty locked in, I would think. But boy, there's going to be a lot of battles here in very important games. There's only 4 games left here in the season, and there at the bottom, New World of Creaky got the win, but they're still in the basement with Sons of Shane Falco at 2-7. All right, with that being said, there are a lot of important matchups this week. We have several huge games that matter. Again, you can't lose in these last 4 weeks, especially if you're at 4-5 right now. Big games, and we brought on a specialist for the first time ever on LEGTV. Let's make this week's guess. All right, for the first time since 2011, our long-standing member, the Intentional Pounder 2020, Joe Murdoch is on. What's up, Joe? How are you?
Doing well, man. Glad to be here finally. I was beginning to think I wasn't allowed to come on these things, man.
What are you
Never got the invite.
No, man. You know what? Honestly, Zoom has made this way easier. To be honest, having to go to people's houses and beg them to come over was a nightmare. But you're like my neighbor, so
right across the street.
I know.
Throw a stone and hit your house from here.
It's a hell of an arm. Hey, so Joe, let's dive right into it. All of a sudden, man, how are you feeling about your chances now? It looks like things have turned around.
Well, 2020, man, we're hitting that mid-season stride. We're around that part of the year where, people are running out of that stimulus money. They're beginning to find out that, hey, you're not getting another check. The extra unemployment money's gone, and people are starting to realize 2020 is here to stay. It's going to be a while.
It sure feels like that. But you're gainfully employed, correct? Still.
Oh, absolutely.
Good. Thank God for that. So I want to kind of talk to you about how this season has been going because it's been kind of wacky. Give me, who is your biggest surprise, whether it's good or bad? Let's do both. Biggest surprise, team that's in the top, and biggest surprise, the team is not doing so well.
Team in the top. Honestly, I'm going to say you. Party like a gone star. Going into the season, you had the number one pick. Obviously,
Yep.
McCaffrey had struggles with injury. Still having struggles with injury, but you did make a couple waiver wire moves to help you out in the running back position, so that kept you up there. But I still felt like I didn't see a whole lot from your team at the beginning, my opinion. But I am surprised to see you still at 8-1, still at the top of the league. We're talking about somebody who fell off that I thought would be there.
Yeah, like who'd you walk away from the draft like, oh man, they're going to be good, and now they're not so good? I know I have one in mind.
I'm going to say Mick. I'm going
Mick?
to say Mick. Yeah. Obviously, another injury situation with him.
Right.
Lots of injuries stacking up against him. I thought he had a really good team going into the league, but the cards fell the way they did, and he's looking up at you at the top too.
That's right. Poor Mick. Honestly, I think things turned around for me. The biggest trade of the season is when I traded away Josh Allen, who was the number one overall quarterback at the time, getting Adam Thielen just as another wide receiver help. But yeah, Mick has had bad luck this year with injuries. Pretty much half of his team has been on IR, or they got COVID, or both. I actually, you know what, your team, seeing your team, I was surprised that you were down in the bottom half of the league for so long with by far the best running back committee there is. What do you think is going to be the big turnaround for you this season?
Well, my running backs will stay consistent, and Aaron is going to continue his dominance of the league as well. Both of them, both Aarons.
Yep.
And then, I don't know. My receivers have, for the entire year, been kind of my Achilles heel. But after losing Odell and, T.Y. has been trash all year.
Yes.
Made a move to get Tyler Boyd. Also picked up Chark off the waiver wire. So I'm in a better situation than I was, I would say, at the wide receiver position, but obviously not excellent. But I definitely think with the way my team looks right now, I don't believe I have any more bye weeks to go. My bench looks solid. If any injuries happen, I have 2 serviceable backups for both of my starting backs.
Yeah.
So I think I'm looking good for a playoff run.
One of the scariest teams by far. So we've only got 4 games left, Joe, and we've got some huge matchups this week, and I'm going to run down and give me who you think's going to pull this one out. I'll toss you a softball. I'm taking on Nick Shook, the last place team in the league, and he actually did some moves, put together a lineup that's actually playing. But
He started a lineup.
He started a lineup.
All right.
He took Nesson's advice and did it yesterday, finally. I'm projected to win 168-146, even though Mr. Christian McCaffrey, my first-round pick, 30 points last week, and now he's out. He is officially not going to play this week. Who are you taking this week, me or Shook?
Yeah, you're right. This is a softball here. Landslide victory, right like a Gronk star. Even though Shook set his lineup, I don't think that's going to matter, even without McCaffrey in there. I do like, Cooper Kupp against Seattle's D, but that's about all I like about his lineup. So.
The cream will rise to the top.
Yeah, I'm taking me this week. The Christian McCaffrey scenario is still a little bit scary as we kind of inch towards the playoffs. Yeah, that's a softball one. Here we go. Here's actually an interesting matchup here. Mick, who we talked about earlier, taking on New World Okariki, Plow's team. Plow, in my opinion, the most disappointing team in the entire league, with Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 overall quarterback and fantasy football player, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller. I mean, the dude has a solid lineup, but for some reason he just can't put it together every week. And Mick is kind of sliding on the up and up. So this is going to be a tricky one because if Plow loses, he's pretty much done. So who are you taking in this one once Plow actually sets his lineup because he's got some bye issues?
Yeah, I mean, Plow with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill on bye, I think that hurts him. Don't really like his backfield either. Knicks finally got Michael Thomas back. He's playing, which is good for him. I think Chubb might go. Not sure, but if he does go, it'll probably be in a limited capacity. I'm hoping for that with Hunt on my squad.
I was going to get to that. I was going to talk about that.
I'm going to take Mick. I'm going to be low scoring.
Yeah, I'm taking Mick too. You're right. Plow's his entire crux of his team is Kansas City, and the fact that Mick is getting them on a bye is a lucky draw for old Mickster. I'm taking Mick as well. Did you see the Halloween episode? Mick doesn't even know how many kids you have. Was that like uncanny? Was that?
It was amazing. He was really channeling. Amazing job.
I know. I thought that was you for a second. All right. Here's one of the big. There's not a game of the week. There are several games of the week because not only because of playoff implication, but just because the games are so close and they're must wins. John Dahlgren's Clock Gobblers taking on Abby's Lamb of Godwin. Dahlgren's favored only to win by 2 points in this matchup. John 4-5, Abby 5-4. Who do you think takes this one to solidify a playoff spot?
Yeah, you're right. This was tough. I'm gonna go Abby right now. I think Henry is gonna get shut down tomorrow night against that Colts defense, and I'm not really sure who Dahlgren's other running back is gonna be.
Josh Jackson or David Johnson. I mean, he's probably gonna go Josh Jackson.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and then I don't know, Godwin with AB in the mix. I don't know, it's starting to unravel things a little bit already. You saw how the Bucs fared on Sunday night last week. We'll see what happens with that. And then I think Josh Allen might come back to earth a little bit against AZ. Honestly, I think it might come down to whether or not Kenyon Drake plays. Kenyon Drake plays, that's going to take away from Chase Edmonds, and Abby might lose. But I got a close one. I got Abby winning.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close one too, but I'm going to differ on this one. So I'm going to take the Clock Gobblers this week, and I think Jared Allen actually is going to continue and after his 50-point performance. And yeah, Chris Godwin is a toss-up, but Devontae Adams is having a monster season. I personally think that Derrick Henry is not going to have an issue with the Colts. He may not get over 120 yards, but I think they're going to get to the red zone plenty of times, and they're just going to punch it in and expose that kind of overrated Colts defense that really they play good against not so great mediocre teams, but when it comes to a good offense, they get exposed. And I think Derrick Henry's going to have a couple tutties. And John Brown, Hollywood Brown for the Bills, or not Hollywood Brown, for the what's his name? Yeah, John Brown for the Bills, right?
John Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Hollywood.
Not Hollywood Brown, but John Brown for the Bills. I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns from there. So I'm taking Dahlgren this week. I think he gets to 500 because Abby's been sliding the last few weeks. So just to make it interesting, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm taking Dahlgren for big playoff implications. All right, here's another one. Okay, we got the 5-4 defending champion Austin Stoll, the Dak Street Boys, taking on you, Joe Murdoch, 2020 at 4-5. Now you're holding on to that 6th spot, and it would sure be nice to get to 500 here. Now give me your honest opinion. What are your chances against Austin? Do you win, or does he take it?
I think I win. I think I keep the streak going.
I'm
looking at, like I said, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones playing the Jags in Green Bay. I think they're going to go off. I think that's going to help DJ Chark, potentially playing from behind, throwing the ball up a lot. And Dalvin's going to keep cooking, man.
Whew. He is actually, man, he's probably the fantasy MVP of the season right now.
Say so at this point, yeah.
It's unreal. That's a now. Are you at all worried about? You mentioned Chubb coming back. What does that do for Kareem Hunt? Where you usually put him in the flex, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's still a flex running back with Chubb in the lineup. I'm not really concerned about that. He's probably still my best flex play, honestly, if Chubb comes back. And who knows what his role is going to be coming back either. I'm assuming he'll take over the number one role and he'll get the starting carries, but they basically share time anyway.
Yeah. Plus, when it's garbage points time, they don't go to Chubb. They just throw to Kareem Hunt out of the backfield, and when the defense kind
I
of
think they
softens
prefer Hunt as a receiver too. So.
Yep. Absolutely. That's a deadly running back trio there, man. Every week. It is not fun to play 2020. I am also taking 2020. I think it's going to actually be a big blowout, which there's been a lot of blowouts this season. There's only been like a few close games. It seems like every game's like 20, 30. Sometimes we have 80-point blowouts every single week. It's crazy.
Yeah, I believe I had one last week.
88 points.
80-something points.
It was the biggest blowout of the week. It was, I think it's going to be close to that. Stoll's got some issues with bye weeks and injuries. I think you're going to win by 50. How do you like that?
I would enjoy it.
Speaking of almost 50, Jason Servos' team, he's taking on the Indy Snatch Pounders, Dave McCready. McCready's a bit on the slide, and Servos has been nipping at my heels the entire season, still holding that number 2 spot. He's pretty much, him and I are going to clinch this week with wins and possibly a bye week if we can stay on track. Is there any reason for him to panic against McCready's team?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No. And I think he'll dominate, no sweat. I think, does McCready still have some work to do to even get a lineup in there?
Not yet. No. He's still right now at projected 105. He's missing a cornerback. He hasn't started a quarterback yet, but he's probably going to put Matt Stafford in, who's playing the Redskins, which is going to be a tough draw. So Stafford is a starting quarterback. You might get 25 points. That's not going to be.
I don't know. I think big games from Kyler Murray, Allen Robinson. Yeah, Allen Robinson. I think he'll have a good game.
Oh, yeah. You brought it up. We got to bring up the Allen Robinson track. Okay, you ready for this? So after 10 games, Mr. Allen Robinson is the 9th overall ranked wide receiver in total overall points. As I'm scrambling to get points, he has 151 points. So that's 10 games, number 9, 151. So not looking good for Austin Stoll here on this the Allen Robinson tracker. I'm glad you reminded me of that. But
Yes, sir.
he's a top 10 wide receiver. Can't argue with that. That seems like
Not
a
at
draft
all.
pick to me. We'll see. This is a developing story. Yeah, I'm taking Servos in this one in an easy win. I think this is going to be another blowout, 40, maybe 45, 50 points. So we're both agreement on this one. Here's a close one. This is like kind of a do or die situation. Alan Nesson is he's 4-5, taking on the rookie Jabal Soul, the Modelo virus, at 4-5. He's kind of trending up a little bit. He was at the bottom of the league. He's moving forward. Had some pretty lucky draws with some bad opponent outputs. But this is a toss-up. I mean, both of these guys need a win if they want to even have a chance at staying in it. Like I said, Jabal's actually projected to only lose by 10 to Nesson. But I'm curious, just looking at these lineups, who do you think is going to take this one, Allen or Jabal?
I don't know, man. To me, this is like an NFC East matchup. Like, nobody wants to take this. Like, nobody really wants it. I'm not really sold on either one of the lineups. Nesson's got Julio and Clyde out. I did think Jared Goff was a nice pickup. He's going up against the Seahawks this week, so I think he'll put up some numbers. But I don't know if Carson's going to go. If he doesn't go, he's going to have some issues at the flex spot. I'm not really a fan of Fournette either. But on the other side, I don't necessarily think the situation is much better. I like Antonio Gibson. I love him. Melvin Gordon,
Meh. It's kind of meh.
Landry might do okay against the Texans defense. Hooper's coming back too, so we'll see how they spread the ball around. But I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's basically a coin flip, but I'm gonna take Nesson this week.
Nice. Yeah, I would have taken Jable if Joe Burrow was playing this week. He is on bye, and as far as I'm concerned, if this was a dynasty league, that would have been the best pick of the draft for Jable. It's not a dynasty league, but Joe Burrow looks like he's going to be a freaking force. He's going to have to throw a lot too, because they're playing from behind a lot. But yeah, I'm taking Nesson too. I'm agreeing with you. Looks like we only split on one of them. It doesn't make for very interesting viewing. But you're right, man. Hey, great minds think alike. So you can't argue with that. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, all right, Joe, thank you for doing the rundown. Do you have anything to say to the league before I let you go here this week for Week 10?
Just watch out for 2020. Still here. Coming for you.
He is coming for you. All right. That was Joe Murdoch. Thank you so much for finally coming on here. It was great having you on, Joe. Hopefully, obviously, we'll see you again.
Yes, sir.
There we have it. Thank you, Joe, for coming on. We appreciate it. Good luck to all of you all this week, and tune in next week for LEG TV.